Chapter 10. Abolition of Relationship Document. When Omar was wondering as to what will happen next, Dad asked him to get into a bus at once to go to Malur. Omar with much hesitance said,
I am having my model exams on Monday and I have to study for it.
He thought that at least this way he can escape this danger. Dad reproved him that life's problem was much more important than the exams. He threatened.
Are you going to get into the bus or should I ask few gangsters to throw you into the bus?
Frightened Omar agreed to go with him. Omar thought that some unfortunate thing was about to happen, but he had no way to escape, so he followed Dad. Both of them got into the bus and Dad did not talk anything. After reaching Malur, Dad got out of the bus and walked ahead while Omar followed him. He stopped in front of a shop where they sold stamped document papers. He bought a stamped document paper for 5 rupees. Vendor asked,
Sir, is this your eldest son? Is he studying in the college?
Dad mockingly said,
Yes, he is doing a great study in the college.
He go. The paper and started walking. He gave same reply to everyone who asked him on the way. Omar understood the implied meaning. Omar at first thought that Dad was taking him to his grandma's house in Malur, instead Dad brought him to a bus stop. They took a bus to Thiruvadavar. In Thiruvadavar the house was located at the back of Dad's clinic. He opened the clinic and sat in a chair. Omar sat on the right-hand side of his table. Dad started writing in that stamped paper and there was pin-drop silence. Omar sat silently looking at the floor. After 15 minutes Dad stopped writing. Dad asked,
When somebody asks who you are, you say that you are Thang Am's son. But you go to a Christian church. If you are born to Thang Am, then you must be a Muslim. If you do not want to be a Muslim and rather a Christian, let me know. Tell me now, do you want to be a Christian?
Omar stood silently looking at the floor. He threw the paper on the table and said, If you want to be a Christian, be one, then you sign this paper. Do not ever say that you are Thang Am's son.
Omar took the paper and read it. The heading was written as
Freedom Document.
It stated that since Omar had become a Christian, he was no more the son of Thang Am and had no right to claim any of his real estate property. It was written as though the document was written by Omar to his dad. After reading it, Omar was stunned and did not know what to speak. Sorrow gripped his throat. If he did not sign the paper he would undergo persecution. If he signs the paper the father-son relationship will be broken. It was too terrible to think. Now he faced another danger because of his faith in Jesus. With trembling hands, he said,
Dad, I would check with Mom before I sign this paper.
After hearing it he hissed like a wounded snake. He sprang up from the chair at once and said,
Did you become a Christian after asking your mom? Are you going to sign this paper or be beaten to death? He went inside the house and took a big bamboo pole which was 5 feet long and very thick. 1. With it, he hit him repeatedly on his leg. Omar was shaking in pain and cried. Dad continued hitting. Omar thought that his leg bone would break into pieces. Suddenly he felt the grace of God removing his pain. God gave him strength to bear the beatings. At that moment a friend came into the clinic. Friend was shocked and asked,
Sir, why are you beating your son?
Dad stopped beating and said,
I sent him to college for further study but he became a Christian and brought shame to the family.
He sat in the chair saying,
Being the eldest son, I bore him on my shoulder and brought him up and in the night he slept on my chest. I looked after his needs day and night. In the end he destroyed my family prestige and became a traitor. He is not faithful and has no gratitude. When he went to college I bought him a nice watch from Malaysia.
He took a watch from a table drawer and threw it on the table. It was a new Seiko square watch with a black dial. When Dad narrated how much he loved him, his throat started choking, there were teardrops in his eyes mingled with love, despair, and disappointment. Omar hung his head down and silently wept. On one side his throat and legs were painful, on the other side his faith in Jesus tore Dad's heart into pieces. Too many crises were happening in the family. The friend comforted him saying,
"Sir, whatever it is, will the relationship of your son go away? So leave him for some time and he will come back on his own."
The friend was a well-respected gentleman in the community. After talking for some time he left the place. Omar wished him to stay longer to avoid further beating to death. Dad was silent for some time, put the document inside the table drawer and locked it. He said, "Hereafter stop putting this double act. When you come here you act like a Muslim, and when you go back to college you become a Christian. If I hear once more that you are involved in some Christian activities, even if you go to the other end of the world, you cannot escape from me, I will kill you."
After a few minutes he asked,
"Will you go to church hereafter?"
Omar said,
"No. I will not go to church." Dad asked him to go to the college, write exam, and return to Thiruvadavar without going to Vajagapati to his mom. He agreed and got up from the chair. He did not even dare to lift up his face and look at Dad. With his head down he waited for Dad's next order. Dad threw some money on the floor for his bus fare. Omar picked up the money, said bye and walked to the door. Soon a bus came which he took to Madurai. Prayer group students surrounded him with many questions. Omar explained everything. They were sorry for him and prayed for him and his family. They prayed that God should somehow change his dad's heart to believe in Jesus. They thanked Jesus for protecting Omar in these tribulations all alone. Even though he had throat pain for many days, his faith in Jesus became stronger. He went forward in Christian life, affirming Jesus is his life and death a victory. Chapter 12. Questions out. Bachelor of Science degree final exams were fast approaching, classes were over, students had few weeks of study holidays and the college was closed. Some students went home while others stayed back in the students' residence. College was situated at the foot of a mountain range, just approximately about few kilometers opposite to the college was a rocky hill, in between these two were fields and a lake. On the eastern side was Tamarind Grove and a small river. Omar went to these places to study as they were quiet and beautiful places. Some exams were over. During exam times he studied till 1 or 2 o'clock in the night, went to bed, got up at 4 o'clock, and studied again until entering the exam hall. One day he was preparing for inorganic chemistry exam which was to take place the next day. Around 9 o'clock in the night, there was commotion among students, they stood in groups here and there and seemed so exhilarated. They ran hither and thither joyfully with some papers in their hands. Omar, sitting a little away from them, wondered what happened. He asked a fellow student who was passing by, the reason for commotion. He replied,
"In Fatima College question paper leaked out as some students got access to the printing press where it was printed, that is why there is a crowd. Here is a copy of it, these are the questions you will get tomorrow in the exam, why do you take unnecessary trouble to study everything?"
He gave Omar a handwritten copy of the question paper asking him to copy it and return it to him. Omar did so. There was great Uggle in Omar's heart whether to learn just those 10 questions. Will it not be a sin in the sight of God? So far he never believed about questions getting leaked out. Can I believe now in this final year undergraduate exam? What to do now? Finally he decided, instead of learning everything and confusing myself, let me learn this 10 questions well, because the subject is too hard. All night he prepared for only those 10 questions and went for exam the next day morning. When examiner gave the question paper, prayerfully he read the questions. First question was not what he studied and not the second one also. Now his heart began to beat fast and fear gripped him. Anxious to know whether questions he studied did appear on the question paper or not, he scanned all the questions but none of them was seen there. He did not know what to do. He did not know answer for even one question, and it was like a lightning struck him. He sat there like a statue wondering what to do. It happened for the first time in his life, and he even regarded walking out of the examination hall. Again and again went through the question paper. Some students were writing fast. He put down the question paper and pen on the table and started to pray silently.
Lord, I have sinned. I should have studied all my portions. I should have believed that you will help me to comprehend the subjects and pass exam. I should have put my trust in you. Because I didn't trust you and sinned daringly, I got into Satan's web. Lord, I will surely fail in this exam now. Please forgive me and help me. Just like you woke up Lazarus from his grave, do a miracle for me today. You never cast anyone who comes to you. Show me answers for these questions.
After prayer, he praised God and started writing answers. In the beginning it was a struggle, then he felt as though lecturer was standing in front of him and teaching the class, and he is having an open book in front of him reading all the answers. He wrote answers for all questions. It was a wonder of God. He is called Wonderful, and there is nothing he cannot do. He praised God with grateful heart and left the exam hall. Some students were grumbling that they would fail as there was no question from the one they had yesterday. When Omar heard all these comments, he started to doubt about answers he wrote. Satan prompted him to doubt God's miraculous leading and confused him. Apprehension overcame him. Instead of praising God, he felt very sad. So far he never failed in his education. If he fails in his final degree exam, who will give him a job? If he does not get a job, in addition to the disasters already in the family, the situation will be worse. And I will not even be able to prepare to repeat the exam once again in September. He prayed.
Lord, help me to trust you completely. I believed you helped me to attend exam well, but now Satan sows seeds of doubt. If my answers were wrong, correct them all and do a miracle, please.
He knew there is no help except Jesus Christ.